when I was working with Eyewitness, and that's where we come from. Thank you so much, Gareth.
All yours, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with not just an admission. Sorry, my apologies. I assume my voice is loud enough and it doesn't need a microphone. Let me begin with not just an admission, but actually a mea culpa. I am not an expert on the Northeast, and tonight, practically every thought put into my head takes me back to the early 90s, when most of the best thoughts that I spoke came from Kishalay. All of the questions I'm going to ask tonight have also been crafted for me by Kishalay. And so, I want to begin by putting the very first question to Kishalay. It's a question that he posed to me when he rang me up and asked if I would step in and moderate today's discussion. You need the mic. It's gone off again. My apologies. He said to me at the time, he said that one of the anomalies of the Northeast is that there are actually 7 states there, but we refer to them collectively as the Northeast, thus subsuming within that vague and imprecise term states that have different identities, different cultures, different languages, and don't realize that each of them are unique in their own way. And he said to me, ought we not to be calling them Manipur, Meghalaya, Tripura, Assam, etc., rather than the Northeast? Kishalay, answer your question first.
Yeah, Karan, I think one of the difficulties that I faced while reporting, because I was meant to report from the Northeast and later the entire East, but I couldn't figure out why we call it Northeast, because there was actually no similarity between states like Manipur or Meghalaya to Tripura, Tripura to Sikkim, either in the language, food, dressing, culture. There was no similarity whatsoever. Probably Punjab and Haryana, as you mentioned, are far more similar than Manipur and Meghalaya. And the whole point of this book is actually to engage this difficulty, to deny the habitually single, even harmful representation of people. We generally tend to stereotype people and places, and people and places get trapped in those images. And it's true universally, it's true for a lot of other places, but it becomes more dangerous when we are trying to stereotype people and places on a conflict-ridden area, because there are individual stories, there are stories of people trying to cope with that situation, adapt to that situation, and the difficulty becomes even more amplified when we are reporting. I mean, I was a television reporter all my, I've only worked in television. And it becomes much more difficult because without that context, we are actually conveying a wrong message. So I would start with that. The premise is that there is nothing called Northeast, but for convenience, we do use the word Northeast.
Pradeep, let me put a sort of counterpoint to that. We, sitting here in the north, refer to the 4 states of southern India collectively as the south. Yet we're well aware that there are enormous differences between Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and I've even forgotten the last one. Why is it that the term the south doesn't mislead, but the term the northeast does? Is it in fact the use of the collective noun? Or is it that, in fact, we are well aware of what the South is, but we are woefully ignorant of the Northeast, and this is the fault, our ignorance, rather than the collective noun that we use?
Yeah, I think I would disagree with Kishalay to an extent. That even the idea of India is that way, that we're so diverse. When you say who's an Indian, it's so different. Gujarati is different from a South Indian, or I would still use that term Northeastern. Because we are bound together by geography, one of the factors is. And also by certain political predicament, that things like, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, that actually binds together things. You already know that you are looked upon as a certain identity, and that the very fact of being looked upon as something gives you an identity. And as a matter of fact, if I was in the Northeast, if I was asked who am I would answer differently. And I would say I'm from Manipur, I'm such and such. But if I was asked, say, in London, who are you? Then I probably have to say I'm an Indian. So I think it's basically the context that gives you that identity.